Welcome back to the Soul Light Collective. I'm Karen, my friend Diane, and we were talking a little bit today about planting seeds, right? Like, what does that mean, planting seeds? And I actually just said to Diane, is it an act of planting the seeds, or is it like a spiritual term? Or is it just like almost like a metaphor, like planting seeds? And that's what we came on to talk about a little bit today. Because I really do think maybe Diane, you agree that there's just some real heavy, beautiful, not heavy, beautiful significance to planting seeds, right? And how are we doing that? Are we doing that through actions? Are we doing that through our voice? Are we doing it through sharing wisdom? Are we doing that through acts of kindness? Like that can just keep opening and opening. So that's where we're going to start today, Diane, and just planting seeds. How are you planting seeds, Diane?
And I think I love all that. And I'm excited to talk about planting seeds. Um, and I think, the conversation can go, or maybe have two parts, like how are we planting seeds in our own life
Mm,
versus how are we showing up and perhaps planting seeds for others? Um,
beautiful.
so I guess in my own life, how am I planting seeds? And we just did a light language transmission this week. I'll link it below, where the invitation came through. It was an energetic experience. The invitation came through about planting seeds and in the firm foundation, to allow ourselves to grow and expand. And so the seeds that I feel like I'm planting currently are those of for new beginnings, really. We sometimes can find ourselves getting caught in the sameness, the looping over and over again. Maybe we're feeling in our heads and our hearts that we want to expand, that we want to grow, but yet the ego is keeping us safe, quote unquote, keeping us stuck. And we're not really evolving the way we're intended to, or the way our hearts um, are wanting us to, or inviting us to. So, how about you? Do you
Mm.
feel like you're currently planting some seeds in your
So,
own life?
yeah, so in my personal life, as far as like planting seeds, like that, where does that take me? And I think that it takes me back to um my child rearing, like raising my children, raising my family. Um and we as mothers and caregivers and nurturers always want to um tend, right? We want them to eat properly. We want them to sleep. God forbid they don't sleep properly. Like feel fulfilled that I'm watering and caring for my children. And then we watch them grow up to adults. And like this is just like my personal experience. And then I see like, well, I might have planted a weed here by instilling something like into their persona, or like that maybe I see as a reflection back of myself, like, oh, I did that. Or I see the beautiful blossoms, right? It's like, oh, like beautiful. And then yeah, so that's like my personal experience with like how I look at planting those seeds. But like how do those seeds get there, right? They came through experiences I had that I passed on to them, right? So there's like that, there's like I did that, I caused that, or I cleared that. Like that was a family experience that I received and I cleared that for them. I cleared the field and planted fresh new seeds. Not to go overboard with the anyway, but there I also feel like there were a lot of seeds I planted that I wasn't even aware of, right? There's those there were changes I went through, right? So mom was this way, I was always this way. And then I would start to soften a little bit, or I would start to have other experiences, new experiences. And I wanted to like enlighten them, like, you don't have to be like that. Or, I know that I was like this in the past and like, let's change that. And like, let's let me plant those seeds now, a little bit older, right? It's not always just when they're small children. and then watching them change from that too. So it's like having that experience of planting the seeds, sowing the soil, and nurturing and fertilizing and growing and picking out what doesn't feel good, and then just a beautiful bouquet at the end, right? I don't want to go overboard with these symbols, but there's also, I think, as we have gone through our awakenings, right? Because that's what we're here talking about, healing journeys and awakening journeys, into our spirituality, um, of it having a different feeling, right? So now we're out in the world and I'm aware, like I'm self-aware. Like I have an awareness now that like when I walk into a store and you can feel the energy not feeling well, and you can see the girl at the checkout as she's been through it, and how simple that smile and, gee, I'm sorry that person was so hard for you, and like just like sharing a little bit of my light to her, and that can also be planting a seed, because then I walk away from the store and I have to let that grow however it's going to grow, and just trust and have faith that maybe I helped her day a little bit. Maybe she's going to be kinder to the next person. Maybe the third person in line really needed a kind moment. And now she's able to provide that. And that's how we like spread light through the world, right? And is that planting of the seeds? Like I don't have all the answers, but like this is what we wanted to explore. Like how do you see it? How do you see planting the seeds more in a spiritual sense for yourself?
Yeah, I think that, the seeds that we plant, they can be positive or negative. They
Mm,
can be weeds or they can be like the most beautiful flowers ever. And it's really about, are we in alignment with our
mm,
truth? Because when we're not in alignment with our truth, the truth being that we are this energy being, this essence at our core of frequency of divine love and light and pureness and joy and peace. When we're aligned with that, when we're connected with that, we radiate that. It's almost like the, I'm just getting an image of a dandelion, the
mm,
fluff, a
mhm.
whole fluffy dandelion, and then a breeze blows and all the seeds scatter, right? And they're being planted wherever they're being planted, and then new dandelions grow. And that's when we're aligned with our truth and our light is shining out in however many ways, whether we're smiling at a grocery clerk worker or, I mean, I can think of a gajillion examples,
Yes.
but you get the idea. That's when we are planting seeds. And sometimes we don't even, when we're so aligned with that truth, we don't even have to necessarily say anything. It's almost just like a making eye contact with somebody or radiating. I've certainly been in stores many times when there's been screaming children, right? Or parents perhaps yelling at children, or just people who radiate this very like heavy energy where they look mad or they look sad, but just rather than getting into the mind and trying to create stories about them or what those parents should be doing, instead of letting their kids scream or whatever, aligning with your light and sending out love, sending out light to the situation. And
Mhm.
that is planting seeds. They probably won't even see you, notice you, but the energy, the frequency is coming in. And so that might, again, that's a seed perhaps being planted that could be however many days or weeks after that, where a light bulb may go off for them. They won't know who planted the seed, but all of a sudden there's a spark.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't even know what you asked me.
No, no, and we were originally addressing it like kind of like our personal, our families and our children,
Yeah.
but and then we were kind of talking a little bit about um uh, uh, I keep hearing the word as spiritual workers, and I don't want to say
Mm,
that. Like, so I'm in conflict, right?
yeah.
And that's okay. That's part of my day. That's part of my routine. Am I in conflict, or am I in an alignment, right? And that's what you were
Mm,
talking about, that beautiful alignment. And I'm not always aligned with I haven't always caught up with what I'm receiving, right? So
Mhm.
that I allow that seed to plant. It's almost like that metaphor. I can allow like my what I'm receiving to plant within myself. Like,
Mhm.
okay, now I've caught up to it. I know that younger years, my kids would be so accustomed to seeing me be triggered, right? Like, oh, mom's going to go off on a rant about this. And then as they aged, and I grew more into myself, and I started to own my actions more, and I wouldn't trigger as much. I think they were more shocked than anything. Like, wow, mom, you handled that really well, and
Yeah,
that's me on my own journey, right? Like there's
sure.
my growth, right? Someone somewhere planted those seeds for me that I could be better and I could live better. And
Mm.
I wanted to add that I received some beautiful guidance from a woman named Judith, who shared with me that um, my job is to plant the seeds, right? The goodness and pureness of my heart. That's how I always look at those seeds. Like, what is the most pure part of myself that I can give, right? It's
Mhm.
not the weed, right? The seed of that beautiful
Mhm.
bloom. My job is to plant the seeds, but then to walk away, right? And let
Not be
them
attached to it.
not be attached to it,
Yeah.
and let them grow the way they need to, and let the person or the situation or whatever the seed needed to be planted, and knowing I did it of love, and that I don't need to be attached to it anymore, and just to surrender it, and let it all evolve beautifully, and not be over fertilizing, and, well, I told you this, did you do what I told and like
Exactly.
that's getting back into my alignment, and letting the garden grow, right? And
Yeah.
just and for the next generations, right? We have these beautiful children coming in. Oh my God, someday we need to talk about the children in fine detail. Beautiful children coming in, and we were parented in a certain way. And now we're getting to an age where our children will be looking at having children soon. And I can only hope that we planted some seeds to receive those children in such a better way, and see them grow, and grow this earth in such a different
Mm.
way. Like that's the bounty that I'm seeing of all those seeds that were planted.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, I'm just getting tingles thinking
I
about
love that.
it.
Yeah. And I think I'm remembering, I think you had asked me, are they spiritual seeds that we're planting, or it was
Yes.
something
Yeah.
related to that? And I would say yes, because the seeds that we want to plant with intention, connect with our spirituality. And our spirituality, what is that? It's not religion. It is our essence. We are at our
Mm,
core spiritual beings. We are a spirit. Spirit is um, like breath, energy, and that is our essence. So, and that essence again is love, is pureness, is of joy, peace. And so, and it can be, and I say this from experience, it can be very challenging to plant those positive seeds when we are in an environment with others who may not be in alignment with their essence. And so, holding that space, and I believe that that is part of the spiritual work, right? It is the challenges that we're perhaps given, the children that are born to us, the partners that we're
mhm,
with, the parents that we have. They're all here as teachers to help us learn to plant our own seeds within ourselves so that we can change, that we can grow, that we can be nurtured, that we can shine our lights. And no matter, it's almost like now I'm getting the vision of, like, a torrential storm, high winds, pouring rains, and a lot of those seeds are going to get washed away.
mm,
Real seeds, if you planted in a garden real seeds, they're going to get washed away, and they're never going to get rooted, they're never going to grow. But there's those others that do take deep root, no matter what kind of storm, what kind of chaos we're facing in our own personal lives. And they will grow, they will
Mhm.
bloom as we nurture them, as we stay in that aligned space throughout the challenges that we're faced, whether it's within your home or your work environment, or in the world.
The
Maybe you
world.
don't even have a family, right? But you're connected with the energies of the world, of all the suffering that's going on, all the tragedies that are happening in natural
Mm.
disasters
Mhm.
and non-natural disasters. And that can take us out of alignment too, and keep us from not only nurturing our own seeds that have been planted, but keep us from planting seeds, sharing our light, sending that out into the world in order to create positive change.
Yeah. As Diane is speaking, I have outside my window the local milkweed is let loose in the wetlands, and there's just seeds
Seeds are
floating everywhere. They
scattering.
look like fairies out there just floating around. And the beauty of it is they eventually land on the ground, and then the bunnies are coming out and eating them, and the birds will come and eat the washed away ones, and that's just the cycle, right? And there's allowing allowing source, allowing God, allowing universe to do her job,
Mm,
right? And being in alignment with that is just so perfect. And that connection with this whole metaphor of nature, right? I think that of growing, right? There's that spiritual growing, and not to confuse the two. They are all the same.
that's
Yeah,
right. I mean, we are part of the natural world. We are natural beings.
yeah,
I'm
we are.
thinking, I'm being reminded of this cartoon that I saw a few years ago, and it was a drawing of uh, a human walking through the woods, and all these animals were like looking at the human saying, "Oh my God, look, it's a human. Look how big
Chipmunk, it's a
it is.
frog, it's a
Look
human.
how big it
It's beautiful. So
is."
yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, so next time you see flowers or you see small children in a playground laughing and playing and rolling around on the ground, like just allow your heart open a little bit more and just know that they're being sprinkled with their sunshine and water and love, and someone somewhere is planting those beautiful seeds.
Yeah, and we all are here to plant more seeds and to shine and spread our
Mm.
lights that we have within, that do radiate without. And you can feel that energy when you're with people who are so aligned and in their light. It's just like, oh my God, I love being with them, right? So thank you, Karen. I love being
Thank
with
you,
you. I
Diane.
love doing these conversations. Thank you all for joining us today here at the Soul Light Collective. Karen and I are energy practitioners, and if you're interested in booking an energetic experience with us, you can just find in the description a link to do that. You can always reach out, leave comments, request topics for conversations. And please subscribe to our channel, like this
Mhm.
video, share with others. We just are here to spread and plant more seeds and grow
Mhm.
this collective, as we all step into shining our lights. So we love you all, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.